I've said time and time again, you know, it doesn't matter how many performances Ole brings out. You know, he is flattering to deceive at Man United. Doesn't matter how many shiny signings he brings in, they just aren't good enough. Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. How you doing, Craig?
I'm good, mate.
To be fair, I think everyone can hear your chewing.
Nah, it's fine. It makes me look cool.
Interesting. How you doing, anyway, bro?
I'm all good, man. We both had a fairly heavy weekend. It was your birthday. Happy birthday.
29.
Getting old. And yeah, so we both had a very, very heavy weekends. You can tell that we're not as young as we used to be because we're still both recovering. So yeah, all good, mate. All
bro,
good.
When I tell you that it's been 2 days since we went out.
Yeah.
I still feel like a skeleton of myself. I feel like a shadow of a man. So
Yeah.
kids, don't drink.
Yeah.
It's not worth the pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from, you know, some mad antics over the weekend, plenty of alcohol consumed, some good food consumed.
Yeah.
There was a weekend of football, and we haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks.
We haven't. There's a lot that's happened between the last time we spoke. As a result of going out, didn't get to watch all of the games. Obviously, I watched Chelsea. I caught the highlights of a lot of the games as well. But yeah, man, it was another exciting weekend of football.
Okay, well, from the football that you have seen, what was give me your top 3 moments of the weekend?
Well, obviously I'm a Chelsea fan, but like you got to credit Man City. They've been questioned this season, which they shouldn't really. I think they've only conceded 1 goal this season, and that was against Tottenham in the first game. And they came to Stamford Bridge and they slapped us up. It should have been about 4 or 5. They dominated us from the beginning to the end. That's the best I've seen Man City play in a while. And Chelsea were coming into the game with a head of steam. Everyone was... I wouldn't say...
I thought they'd win, man.
Yeah,
I really did.
Obviously, when Man City come to Stamford Bridge, you always have that pessimism as a football fan when it's your own team, being like, it's not a guarantee. But I didn't think they would perform the way they performed. Obviously, Tuchel's got 3 wins in a row against Guardiola, and they all came last season in important games. But Guardiola, in terms of his tactics, he was just superior to Tuchel in every single way. I expected changes to come earlier from Tuchel. We packed out the midfield and had Kovacic, Kante, and Jorginho as a 3-man midfield, and had Werner and Lukaku up top. But they were so isolated and we couldn't get the ball to them. Our midfield was losing possession a lot of time. And Man City thoroughly deserved it. The goal was a bit lucky. It was a deflected goal from Gabriel Jesus, who had an incredible game. But yeah, overall, I say Man City deserved that game. They were really, really impressive. What was your thoughts?
100%, man. I feel like Azpilicueta really summed the game up from a Chelsea perspective very well in his post-match interview. And he said, you guys did a lot of mistakes and we're guilty of doing a lot of things that you don't normally do. It was just an off day for Chelsea and an on day for City.
Yeah. But what gives me hope is that it was an on day for City and they only won 1-0, and I think that's indicative of their main issue and their biggest issue going forward this season. They drew 0-0 Southampton last week. Man City of old, who had Sergio Aguero who was firing, would have beat Chelsea about 3 or 4. And the fact they only beat us 1-0 whilst dominating the game, obviously it's a great result for them going away to one of their title rivals, but they do probably need to convert more of their chances and convert that dominance into goals. There
were a few good saves from Mendy, to be fair. That save, the Grealish had the shot. Yeah. That was an unreal shot, by the way. He made that out of absolutely nothing. Was going in, but it's a great save. Mendy was equal to it. But yeah, like you said, they're a blunt force going forward, and they're full of attacking, flamboyant players. You know, players that would get in any team in Europe on their subs bench, you know. Yeah. But yeah, they haven't got that out-and-out striker. But funnily enough, a number 9 scored the goal for him in Gabriel Jesus. You got to back him. The week I choose to take him out of my fantasy team, and he scores a goal. So yeah, shout out to City. And that came on a weekend where City looked so dominant, but on the other side of Manchester, man. Ole back to his old, back to his old way. What's the lighting looking like, by the way? This we're looking okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right. Ole back to his, the fraud's getting found out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I do think overall, we were with our friend Tom over the weekend. He's a big Manchester United fan. He's got Manchester United season ticket, and I think he's a blind witness. He thinks that Manchester United is going to win the league, and what I kept on trying to reinforce is that when you've got a league that's got Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Thomas Tuchel managing the league, there's not a chance that they're going to let Ole Gunnar Solskjaer win the league as manager of Manchester United. These managers are so much more superior than Ole in every facet of the game, in terms of man management, in terms of tactics. They've just seen it all. They've won it all. And so Manchester United losing at home to Aston Villa. Are you that surprised?
Bro, this is what I've been saying about. I mean, we were talking to Del a few weeks ago on the pod. This is one thing I've said about Man United all season. Is they're flattering to deceive.
Yeah.
They were fortunate to beat West Ham. They were very fortunate to beat Southampton. Fortunate to beat Newcastle. They won all those games by narrow margins.
Yeah. The only game that they flying was first game of season against Leeds. And
exactly, man. And Leeds haven't looked great all season. I'm not impressed by Man United. Again, when West Ham played them, I know we lost the game, but they started that game with Matic in midfield, man. I'm not in. That doesn't strike fear into me. It's not 2015 anymore. I don't think you can win a title when, Fred, McTominay, and Matic are your centre midfield options. And I'm not trying to slate them because McTominay's a young player. He can definitely do a job for Man United, but is he the guy that's going to take you to the next level? I don't think so. I wasn't surprised, like you said, that they lost that game. I've said time and time again, it doesn't matter how many performances Ole brings out. He is flattering to deceive at Man United. Doesn't matter how many shiny signings he brings in, they just aren't good enough. And it's like Gary Neville said, like they won the game the other week because Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 goals. That was the difference in the game. And if Cristiano Ronaldo ain't scoring goals, who's scoring the goals? Because I'm not trying to draw him out, but Jadon Sancho isn't doing anything right now. No one else in Man United colours are doing anything right now. I don't like drawing them out because it's early doors. And I like Greenwood, I like Sancho, I like Rashford, I like them all as players. But I'm not impressed with him, man.
No, 100%. You've nailed that with Manchester United. And Ole, let's give him his flowers in terms of the reset job. Where Manchester United were when Jose Mourinho left, they were on the floor, and the culture of Manchester United, there wasn't a culture. They weren't attracting the biggest names. They weren't playing football that fans wanted to see, and there was no kind of future or hope for them. Right now, this squad at Manchester United, if you put Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp, or Pep Guardiola in charge of Manchester United side, I think that side wins the league. I know, the midfield, there's question marks over Matic and Fred and McTominay, but there was questions over Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta, and Thiago Silva. And then you get a good manager who comes in, and it's chalk and cheese between Tuchel and Lampard. I feel like Manchester United fans will finally see the light when Ole does move on and they bring in a high-class manager, just what high-class management looks like. And I feel like if you put a top class manager in charge of Manchester United side, they're favourites of the title. Their team's a joke. The back four: Luke Shaw, Varane, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, incredible. Fair enough, there might be weaknesses in the midfield, but I don't think Matic is an awful player. People got their problems and gripes with Fred, which I understand. And McTominay's an up and comer. He understands what the culture of Manchester United is. And then going forward, they've got Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mason Greenwood, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford. There's an abundance of talent, and as soon as they bring in a world-class manager, I think you'll see Manchester United start to pick up trophies again.
For sure, but I mean, it's all well and good saying they've got a world-class back four, but again, they were susceptible to mistakes on the weekend.
Yeah.
It's like age-old saying, isn't it? It's like defense wins titles, strikers win your games.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the strikers aren't performing there right now, and the defenders are making mistakes. I'm not trying to dig them out because I do think they'll finish. I still think they'll finish comfortably in the top four. But for your mate Tom to be saying
they're going to
win the league, it's just I can't say that. You can't you can't lose at home to Aston Villa and win the league.
Yeah.
Not in a league where Man City are, or Chelsea, Chelsea don't concede goals, Man City don't concede goals. They aren't throwing away little wins to Aston Villa on a repetitive basis,
Mate,
at home.
Look, like you said, let's compare it directly. Chelsea played against Aston Villa, I think 2-3 weeks ago in the league, played poorly, beat them 3-0. You just can't win the league losing to Aston Villa at home 1-0. And one thing we do need to talk about, Bruno Fernandes missing the penalty for Manchester United. Does that mean that Cristiano Ronaldo will now be the penalty taker for Manchester United going forward?
Look, man, this guy has scored I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think he scored 43 out of 46 prior to that.
Yeah.
It's like, you've never seen, that's very uncharacteristic, for Bruno Fernandes. I think missing one penalty for Man United in a pressure situation is a bit unfair. I understand that you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Hollywood, Mr. Man United, Mr. Record Breaker.
Mr. Instagram.
Yeah, Mr. Instagram, man. Cristiano Ronaldo, see something. I understand that he's there, but Bruno was there last year, and Bruno will be there next year and probably the year after that.
Yeah.
And he'll be there post Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I don't really feel the need to take him off penalties because he's missed one.
But okay, I think the sentiment is it's less about taking Bruno off it, and it's more about putting arguably the best penalty taker or the best striker of ball in the world on it to guarantee you score goals. Because I know it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, and like you say, Bruno Fernandez's penalty record is exemplary. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo skies that one against Aston Villa, or do you reckon they sneak a draw they don't really deserve?
We've all seen Cristiano Ronaldo miss a penalty before. Players miss penalties, like Mark Noble. Like that guy. Have you seen that guy's penalty record?
Yeah.
Look how much he's been slated in the last week. He lost a penalty last week against Man United, and he's been absolutely slated. Man United fans, saying all sorts of nonsense about him.
Yeah.
They're not going to be saying anything about Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes missed one penalty. Look,
swings around.
Players miss penalties, man. Like, nothing's guaranteed from the spot. You'd like to think it is, but if he'd put it in the bottom right corner and it was saved, like, who cares, man? He just skied a penalty.
Yeah.
I just don't see there being real reason. Like, he scored so many penalties, man.
So you don't think there's reason for, but do you reckon next time Manchester United manage to steal a penalty in a game, who do you reckon's taking that penalty? Not what you believe it should be, but who do you reckon is taking that penalty?
I feel like there's probably more. There'll be more justification from Ole's part to put CR7 on penalties. I understand it. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't bet my house on Bruno taking penalties anymore. But for me personally, it's just like Bruno. Like, if Cristiano Ronaldo is a world-class penalty taker, Bruno Fernandes is also a world-class penalty taker. It's like choosing a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. They're both world-class, high-quality options. If I for example, I would comfortably put my house on Bruno Fernandes scoring the next penalty. Do you know what I mean? It's not neither or a bad choice. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, 100%. But talking about world-class options, a world-class penalty taker and world-class everything, Mo Salah. That Liverpool-Brentford game, again, it's a game I had to watch extend the highlights for because it was out. But what a game, what a performance from Brentford, who are again showing that they're up to the challenge of facing the big boys in the Premier League. We saw them absolutely bitch Arsenal in the first game of the season, and they've taken a Liverpool team who've been in incredible form. They've taken a draw off of them, so like it was great to see. And Mo Salah obviously getting his customary goal. I think that's 5 and 6 games, and it's probably the game of the weekend. Yeah,
Mo Salah, man, he's just underappreciated. I think because he exists in a time where players like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo exist. Like, no one really appreciates how great Mo Salah is. Like, we were talking off camera a minute ago about how he's probably, well, especially this season, how he's probably the best player in the league right now. Especially on form. So like you've got to give the guy his flowers. That's his 100th Premier League goal. There's some seriously world-class players that have played in the Premier League and haven't hit 100 goals.
Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't got.
I mean, he's on like 92 or 93, for example.
He'll get there.
He'll get there, man. I'm waiting for it. But that's what I mean. Like, you can't. That can't be underappreciated. So you got to give the guy his flowers. Liverpool again, though, like a team that are flattering to deceive. They're really relying on the firepower of someone like Mo Salah, but they're leaking goals at the back big time, man. Big time.
You can't be conceding 3 goals for Brentford and think that's the thing. Like, all these top teams have. It was a great weekend for Man City, by the way. All the other top teams dropped points.
No, West Ham won, bro.
Okay, we'll come on to some of the bit. And Man City won, so they really like they can be feeling good about themselves. But all these teams got weaknesses. Even Man City, they haven't got a striker. Liverpool, their squad depth's not amazing. They're having an over-reliance on Mo Salah. Chelsea sometimes lack ideas in the final third in terms of creating those chances and breaking down the low block. Man United, we've talked about their deficiencies ad nauseum. And so there's all these deficiencies about these teams. So it's about what team can get on a roll and kind of get themselves in decent form and kind of pull away from the competition. But it makes for such an exciting title race. And when I've seen the scores, we were in the restaurant, weren't we, when we get the scores from Liverpool. You're like, oh, it's 3-3. I was like, shut up, you're joking. And you're like, nah, it's actually 3-3. So it's mental that Brentford have actually done that. Big up Brentford. I know.
And they scored a goal that was offside at the end.
It was obviously touted as Ivan Toney versus Virgil van Dijk because you heard Tony's talk in the build-up saying he can't wait to play against him. And Ivan Toney didn't score, but he got an assist, and it's just.
And he did score at the end, but it was ruled off. It was ruled off, like marginal, man. But like shout out to Ivan Toney, man. Like there's a conversation that I'm sure we'll have in the next few weeks. But with players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin being injured, does Ivan Toney make them next England squad? That's a question.
That's a good question.
That is a question that people need to start talking about, because this guy's, we're 6 games into this Premier League season. He's playing very well, man.
Oh no, he is
playing very, very well, and it's another story that is akin to like one of my favorite players, like Mikel Antonio, where he's a guy that's done, he's He's got his flowers. He's earned his praise in the lower leagues of football. He's taken knockbacks with like failed spells at places like Newcastle. He's had to go prove himself at other clubs in the lower leagues. And now he's starting to perform in the Premier League, man. And it's more life to the guy, more life. I like
100%, man. And it's like you say, it's good to see he plays flourishing. And he gets touted as a big man. My man's only 5'10". He's my height, and he's like occupying world-class centre backs in the Premier. Well, I said world-class. It wasn't world-class against Arsenal, but Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip were world-class players, and he's doing a good job against them. You brought up Mikel Antonio, so we might as well move on to your guys, who are, I don't know, obviously, because you support West Ham, I just want them to lose a lot of time, but I can't deny the fact that they're one of the most fun teams to watch in the Premier League, man. And I wouldn't say David Moyes changed tactics, but like West Ham games are always exhilarating. Obviously, Leeds facilitates that because of the way they play. But West Ham versus Leeds, I just watched the extended highlights now, and it looked like it was an incredible game. So, yeah, what was your thoughts on that one?
I'm going to pull out the most Michael Owen statement of all time, and it was very much a game of two halves. In the fact that we didn't play very well the first half, and we were very much deserving of being 1-0 down. We had a few key chances that we didn't take, and Meslier in goal for them had a really, really good game. But second half, we just had enough in the tank to get a win, and it was tough on Leeds because, to be completely honest with you, a draw was probably a fair result. But again, fortunate with the first goal from Bowen. If you guys haven't seen the second goal, go and watch it, man. Mikel Antonio's got 5 goals in 5 games and 3 assists. This guy, if you've been listening to the channel for a long time, I've been flying this guy's flag for a long time. Last year when Quakey was saying that Tammy Abraham should be in the England squad above Mikel Antonio, and I was like, no, Mikel Antonio can bring more. I still stand by that, and this year he's performing and backing my statements up. So, mate, honestly, second goal was unbelievable.
Unbelievable, bro.
Mate,
Declan Rice.
The Declan Rice pass, look, Declan Rice, again, England fans, you just see him as like Mr. Declan Rice sitting in front of the back four and he can't do nothing. But when he's putting in a side that allows him to have the creative freedom to go and take the ball forward, the pass from Declan Rice to Mikel Antonio is unbelievable. Mikel Antonio's first touch is disgusting, but he's so quick and so powerful that he can literally dink it past the defender and then slot it bottom corner. And this is
finish.
Such a cool finish. It's like the 90th minute of the game, by the way, and it's a high pressure game, especially in the last game he played for us when he got sent off near the end of the game. So there was a lot on that. And yeah, for us, man, it's all coming out Millhouse for us, you know? I went into that game and I would have been disappointed with the draw. I really was. And that's kind of testament to how far West Ham have come, especially like in the lifespan of this podcast, you know? Prior to this podcast, man, it was tough being a West Ham fan. Like, I feel like we started this podcast at a time, and ever since then, West Ham have gone from strength to strength.
Mate, it's crazy. We're the good luck transfer, I think. As soon as I started podcast, our teams are performing at the highest levels that they've had for decades. It's mad.
Mate, there was a reason. I know you always say it, but there was a reason I predicted West Ham to get relegated last year. And it's because perpetually my life as a West Ham fan for 20 odd years. I mean, I've seen them be relegated multiple times. I've never really seen us win anything. I've seen us lose in finals. You know, but this year, like, even the fact that I know we're going off tangent, we're talking about West Ham here, but I saw us go away in the Europa League, put in a dominant performance and beat a Europa League team. Excuse me, 2-0. And we got another game this Thursday.
Comfortable as well. The thing is about West Ham, it's weird because everyone's like waiting for the wheels to fall off. But I think there needs to be an acceptance that
and
West
the signings were brought in as well.
Mate. And I don't think we've seen Alex Crowell yet, but I think he's a really good player. I've got him in my fantasy team, so he better get some minutes.
He played against Man United in the Cup. Again, we started with Mark Noble and Alex Crowell, and we beat Man United away from home at Old Trafford.
And it could have been more than one. If Mark Noble puts away that chance near the end of the game.
Boys.
Yeah, like West Ham are a very good team. They're a very good watch as well, which is not something you'd necessarily associate with David Moyes' side. I think he gets a bad rap for playing not unattractive football, but being very pragmatic. But I think he's changed a little bit. West Ham are a bit more dynamic. And just want to touch on what you talked about, Declan Rice. He's a throwback midfielder. Everyone wants to pigeonhole midfielders like he's a CDM or he's an attacking midfielder. Declan Rice can actually do a bit of everything. And like you say, when he plays for England, he's a bit more reserved. When you see him at West Ham, at least once or twice a game, he does a long busting run and breaks the lines and creates something for West Ham. So yeah, West Ham deserve all the flowers in the world, and I feel like at the moment, pound for pound, they are probably the most exciting team to watch in the Premier League, which is saying something.
Yeah, man. It was Calvin Phillips first, Declan Rice, and there was only one midfielder in that game that's getting the flowers.
Yeah, Declan Rice.
World Cup in 15, 16 months time. No, not even that. It's sooner than that, but 13, 14 months time. Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice need to be starting in that midfield, my guy. I I like Calvin Phillips, but bro, Declan Rice is the next level. He's a next level player.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, the last game, I suppose do have to talk about it. The El Crapio, the North London derby, two teams that are not, I wouldn't say irrelevant. I don't want to disrespect the clubs. I've argued ad nauseum about how Arsenal is still a big club.
Do you know what, bro?
But it was a good game.
Let me interrupt you here, right? So, I get accused of being the Arsenal hater. Arsenal yesterday were next level.
They're great.
First half, man. First half on the counter, unbelievable. Going forward, they look so good, and it almost makes you question where the hell have this team been, man? Like, where has this team been? Because the 5 games previous, I know that this is their 3rd win in a row, but even in the other wins, they didn't look exactly clinical. They struggled over the line against Burnley and Norwich.
What I do feel like, obviously Ramsdale didn't start the season for Arsenal, and Tom Yasu's only just come in and started, who was amazing. And they have had a lot of injuries. Partey's now come back in. Aubameyang seems to have found the shooting booth. So it was very disjointed. Players were missing time. But if you look at it on paper, I always said that Arsenal's team isn't as bad as people say. Like, I think Arteta was making the job look a lot harder. Granted, like I said, there was a lot of injuries, but they look very impressive. You saw Partey and Xhaka screening the back four. You saw the young kids in Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka really run the game. And Aubameyang from the first minute was pressing and really set the tone for his team. So yeah, fair play to Arsenal. North London is red for now. I believe just with those two though, it just changes so much. And I feel like with that derby, it means so much to those clubs. For me, it's like my most enjoyable derby a season to watch that my team's not involved in. And yes, Spurs, rubbish. Spurs are rubbish.
They are rubbish, man. They just don't look very good.
Yeah.
You look at their stats. There was a graphic I saw, and it's like they're bottom of the league over distance travelled, shots faced in the league. They're 20th in the league.
Yeah.
And this is in a league that Norwich are in.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't understand Tottenham, and I take a lot of. It was a very weird day for me last night because the world is better for Jamie when I can laugh at Arsenal, but I also take a lot of pleasure in seeing Tottenham lose.
Yeah.
So it was a very much conflicting, emotionally confusing day for me yesterday.
I think it was just a hangover, mate.
That was the hangover. Yeah, I was high on cake, bro. I was high on eating a lot of cake, but as I said, man, yeah, flowers out to Arsenal, and it's really. I tell you, the nicest thing about it. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka, man.
Yeah.
And to see them score in a derby, fair play to them both. Young English players, you want to see them flourish and do well, even if they are Arsenal players.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, they still shipped a goal at the end, 3-1.
They did, but Ramsdale had an incredible performance. A couple of saves were unbelievable. I think Lucas Moore had the deflection shot from outside the area. He gets his fingertips to it. And even the goal that Spurs scored. With Son, he got a hand to it. Obviously, there's a lot of power hit behind the strike, so it was difficult to keep out. But yeah, Arsenal did look quite impressive. But I'm trying to work out if it was more shit Spurs than good Arsenal.
From what I saw of the game, because I did watch it periodically when I wasn't dying, sleeping or whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about Aaron Ramsdale is he actually looked the part. He looked the part as an Arsenal keeper, and that's something I haven't seen maybe since. I don't know, Petr Cech maybe.
Yeah, Petr
Cech was good for them, man.
Yeah, he was.
I've never really, when I play Arsenal, I always feel like we can score goals against them if they have Bernd Leno in goal or Almunia and players like that. So that's what I'm saying. He looks like a strong, commanding keeper. He played well for. Bournemouth over the years, and Sheffield United last year. I think he got the player of the year last year, I think.
Yeah. I was concerned when this one. Then he got relegated in 2 seasons in a row, but I suppose that's not his fault. The teams he played for were pretty pony.
Most definitely. But yeah, again, flowers out to Arsenal. That's the most praise you'll probably ever get on this channel. Yeah. But if you beat 3-1, it was in their gaff as well. It was in Tottenham's gaff, wasn't it?
No.
I was going to say, but you beat them 3-1 at home. That's a memorable win. You guys are going to have something to cheer about for the first time in a while. So I am happy for you, Arsenal fans.
But don't get too gassed.
Because if you lose this weekend, then I am coming for you next week.
All right, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Where can they find us, Quakes?
You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Like James said, we've been away for a couple of weeks, but we're back on this. So make sure you subscribe to the We Talk Football Podcast channel on YouTube and like this video. You can find us on Spotify at We Talk Football Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at We Talk Football Podcast. Check us out, like, subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled and ears pinned for more episodes coming very, very soon.
Cheers, guys. Catch you next week.